another exotic ingredient, oyster. Yeah?
The aphrodisiac.
The aphrodisiac. But now oyster again, where do you get your oysters from?
We predominantly get a lot of our seafood from Cochin.
From Cochin.
Right? We've done a lot of homework and research with different suppliers in different parts of Cochin. For example, it took me around 6 months to get the correct type of oyster and correct size of oyster. And then you can see the freshness between the two. Right, to me that's a perfect oyster. It's correct size, right, which is about 40 to 60 gram per piece. And this one's already died, so I wouldn't use that.
How do you know it's already dead?
Because the shell's starting to open.
Oh, so when the shell starts to open, it's dead.
Correct, and that goes for most of your mollusks.
Okay.
Like clams or mussels, for example.
Yeah.
And you know, the other week I just got the first best shipment of black mussels from Cochin also.
Yeah.
So I mean, every week there's a different surprise.
Big size mussels?
Oh, about that size,
size
about
mussels?
20 grams each.
Okay.
Right, so every week, you know, if something comes into the market, you discover something. And the brief to the suppliers is if you find something that you think we might be interested in, send it up.
Send it over.
Right, all I'm going to do is saute the spinach, which I have, right, which we also got from the garden this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just been sauteed in a little bit of olive oil.
Okay.
I've got some oysters already open. So all I'm going to do is put the sauteed spinach at the bottom of the shell, like so. I've removed the oyster from the shell. I've washed them in a little bit of ice water.
And you haven't cooked them? Because
I haven't cooked them, yes. And all I have here is some butter sauce, Hollandaise.
Okay, this is a Hollandaise?
Hollandaise, right, which I'll put on top of that. And then what I'll do, I'll put that under the salamander and grill them. And the Hollandaise will gratinate over the oyster, right, which are called Oysters Rockefella.
Oysters Rockefella.
Right.
Okay, so what happens to the sauce once it goes under the salamander?
It will start to gratinate and become nice and brown, and the butter will go through the oyster and the spinach. To me, actually the best way to eat oysters.
Great.
Unless natural.
Let's watch this happen. And after that oyster, another favorite of mine, lobster.
Is it?
Yeah. Now this is a local Indian lobster, isn't it?
Correct. Also from Cochin.
And how do you know that the lobster is
Well,
fresh?
that it's kicking, but the most important here, to check that it's the fresh, that it's not starting to deteriorate. What we're going to do, we're going to put it into the cooking liquid, right? So we'll bring that to the boil, right? And let that cook slowly, and that'll take about 7 minutes maximum.
7 minutes and the shell will go red.
Correct.
As usual.
Yeah.
7 minutes.
So I'm going to do something a little bit different today, which is on a trial basis, which I want to put onto the new menu.
Okay.
Right, so we've baked some potato, we're going to slice a potato, then we'll saute some iceberg lettuce in a touch of sesame. Very, very quickly, so it still retains the crunchiness. Okay. Then for the sauce, we'll do a bouillon, which is a lobster bouillon, right, flavored with the Kafflr lime, which we got from the garden. And with that, I shall season it quickly. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of sea salt again, right? And I'll just finish it with some
Sesame.
white sesame also.
That's done. That's one part of the preparation for the lobster. Now, what is this?
This is lobster consommate.
So it's a lobster stock, in short.
And then we've clarified that with prawn meat and fish meat and egg white to clear the soup. So we've clarified the stock.
Okay.
So we've ended up with a lobster consommate made very similar to what you know as a chicken consommate. So it's clear, and I've added some saffron in it to give it the flavor and the color. Right, so into that, right, I'm putting freshly diced tomatoes and 1 leaf of the Kafflr lime from the garden. Yeah, I'll put it nice. Right. And I'll bring that to the boil. Right, and that becomes our sauce. We'll just check how the lobster's going. Seems to be going well. I think another 1 or 2 minutes.
Ah, it's changed color nicely.
Change color, cooking nicely.
Right. Another 1 or 2 minutes?
Yeah, 1 or 2 minutes and she'll be right.
Okay, so another 1 or 2 minutes and we're going to take the lobster out and chop it up ready to be prepared for me to eat. Okay, so the lobster is all sliced cut up the tail and ready to be defleshed, if I may say so. This looks wonderful.
So I'll just finish that and garnish it with one of the antennas. Yeah, as a little bit of garnish. Right, and 1 or 2 chives.
Well, all that cooking has stirred up my appetite, but before I get to the food, there's something I must do. Taste and sample some wine. And we're at Enotica, and joining us now is Rohan. Rohan, hi.
Nice to meet you.
Now, Rohan is the restaurant manager at Vetro.
That's correct.
And the fact that I'm sitting amongst all these wine bottles means that we're going to talk about wine. You've got wine coming France, of course, wine from France, but you've got California, you've got Australia, you've got other parts of Africa making wines now. For an amateur, if I was to say, what is a good wine? You know, is it California or an Australian wine? You know, what do you
A good wine is one that suits your palate. So it doesn't matter where it comes from. The key element is, do you enjoy drinking that wine? So I'm going to take you through a flight of white wines first, and we'll start with the lightest and we'll work our way up to something more intense.
And now for some reds, and let's see what Rohan has got in store for us.